Hello friends, let's try to understand how can we prepare financial statements from trial balance. Financial statements means balance sheet and profit and loss and annexures thereto. So this is the sample trial balance on your screen we have just received. So we want to prepare the balance sheet from this trial balance. So this trial balance could go into hundreds of lines, hundreds of rows, but as a sample database we'll first try to understand from few of the items. So first things first, let's try to convert this database into a table by pressing Ctrl T. So this is the table we have converted. Its name will be T for table underscore trial. This is the table, and since we can include the one field, first we'll check both debit and credit is same. So after converting this into table, you can check through design tab just by checking this total row. So where from we can choose sum. So sum of both debit and credit is same. Now we will undo this. So now we'll make pardon, now we'll just unhide. This is the balance. Now we will create balance debit minus credit. So this is we have brought, and again we'll try to check whether this difference is 0 now. So this is 0 means minus and plus makes it 0. So we'll undo this. So now we are ready to prepare our financial statements, but before that, two things we need to have in our mind: that we do not have the closing stock inside this table, since it's not the part of the trial balance, along with GP, gross profit, or closing stocks. Closing stock and GP, they are not both part of trial balance. So first we'll try to work out. But even before that we can prepare the balance sheet and profit and loss. So clicking somewhere into this table, we'll go to insert, press pivot table onto our new worksheet. We'll name it as BS balance sheet. So balance sheet, we want so before balance sheet we need to have a few more columns. So let's unhide these columns. These are the three columns which we are to prepare. So this is the year, for which year this data relates. This is 1920, and this is the main group. Main group has four kinds of things. First is liabilities, other is assets. These two are the balance sheet items, and revenue and expenses are, these two relates to profit and loss or trading count. So the third one will prepare the class. So first, this is the head, this is capital of the proprietor. So the class will use CAP, short name as capital. This is cash credit limit. So this is SL, secured loans. This is family deposit. This is unsecured loans. Car is your fixed asset, FA. Cash and bank is your current asset, CA. Securities are your part of loans and advances, that is LA. So these are the items that relate to balance sheet. Now sales is a part of trading count, so we'll take it as direct income, DI. So this is the interest on your saving fund or other interests which are not from your business income. So this is indirect income, II. So these are the purchases. Definitely as a part of trading count we'll take it as DE, direct expenses. And these are the administrative expenses which purely relates to profit and loss. This is IE, indirect expenses. So we need to take care of liabilities and assets. This is balance sheet item. Revenue and expenses, these are trading account and profit and loss. So revenue has two parts, direct income and indirect income. Likewise, so far as expenses is concerned, it also has two branches, direct expenses and indirect expenses. Okay, now we'll go to our this pivot table. So we'll now this group, class and head, all these we want on row sides, and this is the closing balance, which is negative and positive items we require into values. And so far as year is concerned, so year we want to filter here, for which year we want to prepare balance sheet. Let us say we have trial of 2-3 years, so it will bring definitely separate the items that relate to a particular years. So okay, then now we are into the balance sheet, and we'll filter the items in balance sheet. We require only assets and liabilities. We do not require expenses and revenue. So we'll check these two items. So liabilities we want on the upper side, so we'll drag and drop there, and assets definitely will come down. So under the liabilities we want the first item as a capital, second is secured loans, third is unsecured loans. Regarding assets, we want FA fixed assets on the top. We'll just drag and drop where we require. This is FA, this is current assets, this is early loans and advances. A little bit formatting will go into design. We'll take the report as tabular form. We'll insert one row second, third one we'll add subtotals. So far as design is concerned, first is tabular form, second is insert blank row, third is subtotals, show subtotals. So this is now we have the balance. We'll double click and we'll name it as amounts within bracket rupees. Enter. Sorry, amounts rupees. Okay, then we can go to number format. We'll take it as currency, and negative positive numbers we'll check it out. So figures which are negative are on to the liability side, credit side is a negative, so it is red, debit side is positive, it is black. So we have a difference at present of 60,000. Let us prepare profit and loss first. So we'll just copy this balance sheet just by pressing the control. We'll drag and drop here another. We'll make a copy of this balance sheet. We'll name it as profit and loss. Okay. So now in profit and loss we require only expenses and revenue. We'll check it out. So revenue we want onto the top. We'll drag and drop there. So under revenue, first we require direct incomes and then II indirect incomes. These are, since credit items, so are red. So this is under expenses we require DE direct expenses first and indirect expenses second. So these are positive debit, so these are debit. So here 60,000 is minus, so here 60,000 is positive. Balance sheet and profit and loss for at the first stretch tallies. So now what is the second part we have to deal with? Okay, we'll hide certain few items. We require this year here, and we want direct incomes, direct expenses, gross profit. Since we have to calculate, so I have separated its color from the other ones. Closing stock, since we have to calculate. II is your indirect incomes, this is indirect expenses, and we have to calculate the net profit. So first, how to bring this item from this trial balance here? So for that we require sum if formula. I'll show you how sum if sum ifs, since we have more than one condition. So these are the arguments it is showing on screen. So first argument, it is asking for sum range. What we want to sum? We want to sum the balance, comma, this is the criteria range 1. So first criteria is into our class, comma, this is the criteria we want to look into this column, comma, now the second criteria we want year, so we want to search into year, comma, this particular year. We'll press F4 to freeze, since we don't want to drag, since we want to drag it down, so it should be fixed, so we don't want to change the year. So enter. So this is the 15 lakhs minus from trial, it will tally with this. Now we'll drag and drop the formula down. So this is the 14 lakhs, so is the direct expenses we have worked out. Now gross profit we presume it as 10%, so we'll take minus 0.1 of K2 sales. Since it is a negative figure and we want the gross profit into positive figure, we multiply it with -1. So gross profit means 10% of sales, but it should not be negative, so we multiplied it with -1. So now how can we work out closing stock? So this is simple, direct expenses plus gross profit minus direct incomes. So we want closing stock, so it should be a positive figure. So this is why I have used this plus sign here, because the sales are negative. So plus minus we can very well understand, okay, this is the formula, direct expenses plus gross profit minus direct income, it should be positive. Closing stock, we'll side by side define the name of this cell as closing stock. We have defined it as CLO dot stock, closing stock. Now indirect expenses, again we'll copy this formula, and we'll paste here as FX formula. So it has worked out this 20,000 from here to there. This is negative because this is indirect income, incomes are credit and credit figures are minus into our trial balance. So this is indirect expenses here. Now the net profit calculation is gross profit plus this figure. Since it is minus, we'll use another minus to make it plus. 150 plus 20, 170 minus 60,000 direct expenses, net profit should be 1,10,000. We'll define this cell as NP. So net profit, since we are to use into balance sheet, so likewise closing stock we are to use into balance sheet. We are to show it as a double entry system, once into the trading count on credit side and another one under the head current assets into the balance sheet. Net profit also we are to show on twice, one into profit and loss, the another one is into balance sheet under the head capital. So this is the another problem. How can we use these figures which are not part of the trial balance? So let us see. We have a sample. So this is the data, this is the sample cells I have prepared. So I'll join this with the the moment I will touch it with the table will expand. So now the range of the table has expanded. We will not use the year here, we'll keep this as blank, because if we'll prepare the trial balance for the next year, so it will show the year, older year. So we want this to be a dynamic, so whatever year is shown here, it will work out here. So how it will be done, I'll show you later on. So for instance, for the time being I have prepared 4 items. This is assets and this is revenue. So far as closing stock is concerned, I am to show 50,000 debit and 50,000 credit, so far as double entry system is concerned. So this is first, debit closing stock should be shown as asset under the head current assets and name of it should be closing stock. So this is, now I will use the formula is equal to closing stock. I have defined the name of this cell as closing stock. It will bring CLO dot stock, it will bring that figure here. So the second 50,000 and the value of the closing stock I want under the head revenue and closing stock I have used this as the simple name, and it should be on the credit side of the trading count under the head revenue. So I will use it here. Again is equal to closing stock, this figure will come here. So likewise NP, I want an independent asset, independent group I want to create. I don't want to show this item under head revenue or expenses, I want it separate, and the last one item under the trading count. So I'll use the new category, new group, and the class is NP, again the new one, and the name I'll want to use head as net profit. You can use it as carried down and into the balance sheet, simple net profit. You can use it the way you like. Let us say net profit carried down. So is equal to NP. I have defined the name of this cell as NP. This is showing on my screen. So the second NP I want onto the credit side, which should be under the head liabilities and within capital. Name should be shown as net profit. So this will will not affect my trial balance. I can check the design under the head total row. This is again 0. So debit and credit will match. Now let us say we go into the balance sheet and we'll just refresh this. So this is the net profit that has come under the head capital under the liabilities, and the credit, this red figure shows this is the credit. So from this trial, that credit balance has gone into balance sheet. What about the second part? Let's refresh. So this is again the closing stock under the head revenue as a separate item. So, and the negative figure also, since it's a credit balance. But this closing stock here, it is showing as 50,000. Why? Okay, closing stock. Okay, we have interchange the figures. This is equal to closing stock. Closing stock is 50,000. Okay, the net profit is 1,10,000. So let's recheck. So here the closing stock 50,000, and here the closing stock negative 50,000. Into the balance sheet this is net credit, and into the profit and loss it's not reflecting 1,10,000. It is showing the difference of 1,10,000. Why it is not reflecting? Because we have not chosen this category. We have created the new category from revenue and expenses. We'll go to this group and we'll choose the NP. This will now show as NP, a new category. So this is 1,10,000. We'll just right click and remove these grand totals. So now the net profit is 1,10,000. We'll also remove the grand totals here from. Now the balance sheet total, both tallies. This is the negative figures, it's in red. These are the black figures into plus. So balance sheet tallies, profit and loss, profit has also been worked out, and the trial has already been tallied. So now you can, this is a very perfect example. Now again, let us say now we want to name the write the name of the concern. How will we do that? So first four range we must always use as blank rows. So this is the fifth figure. We also want to remove this from year. Let us say this has only 1 year, only 1920. So the moment we'll mix another trial into this trial balance, then the new problems will come. So let us say we have two trial balances of 2018-90 and 1920, and we are working on 1920. So this is showing into the 1920, but let us say we want to filter it here from 1920 and 1890. The moment we'll put the items into trial balance, it will start showing here. You can see the balance sheet of each year you want to have. So this is the very perfect example. So but a little bit amendments. For that we need to have under the analyze slicer, we'll insert the slicer here, the year. Okay, let us say this is the slicer and we want 3 columns. Okay, so this is the slicer, and now we can drag and drop out. We don't want that year here, we want 2019-20 here, 2019-20 plus blank. Why this blank we need to select? Because under the trial this is the blank, this does not relate to any year, so we need to select both these cells. So right click, slicer properties, we can off this display header, and we can make it small, and so far as its colors are concerned, we can check the any color we want. Let us say this is a little bit dark here, so this is 1920, and more so let us check the preview of this. In preview it will show printing, since it is out of the purview of page 1. Let us say this is here. Now you see the preview, so it will start printing here, but we don't want this printing of this slicer. We'll just right click and slice size and properties. We'll go to the properties, and in the properties, slicer properties, we will uncheck this print object. Now you see the preview of this, now it will not print this slicer here. So this is also item to be learned here. So same we can do into this. We'll go to analyze, insert slicer, this year here. So we'll take the three columns, and the color of this we can make the way we like. Just right click slicer settings, we can off this display header, just right click size and properties, we can uncheck print object. So finally the size of this, and we'll drag and very much bring this into the view of our page. So okay, now we'll uncheck this year, we'll delete, we don't want. So double click, we want amounts rupees. Okay, so we'll amounts, where it is showing, so amounts rupees, we'll just refresh. Okay, so now we'll insert a blank sheet we'll name it as master. So here we'll write unit name, and this is unit address, and okay, let us say ABC and company. This is 123 Vihar. This is full address we can take. Now we'll select this both two, and under formulas we'll create from selection. On to the left side whatever is written should be the name of this cell. So this name is known as now unit name, this name is now known as unit address, and this is one we forget, this is document dated. So for which date we want to prepare the balance sheet, let us say this is 31st March. Now we'll also define the name, create from selection left, this is document dated. So here now we will always keep first four lanes as blank. This is equal to unit name, this is equal to unit address, this is now we'll prepare the documents list, statements schedules, this is balance sheet as on trading and profit and loss for the year ending, this is sundry debtors as on, this is sundry creditors as on schedule of fixed assets as on. So whatever schedules or statements we want, just select them, and again define name, statements and schedules. Okay, so this is the balance sheet, and into the third we'll press the data validation, and we'll choose the list here, and we'll choose the name here, statements and schedules. So first of all we'll in the home we'll merge and center, this is also merge and center, this is also merge and center, this is also merge and center. So we'll just a little bit will make the heads broader for its view. So third cell we'll choose. Now we want to prepare balance sheet as on. So this is equal to document date. So now this is the date. So since it is general, so we need to convert it through the formula which is text, and this is the value, and the format we require dd mm yy. So it will be like this. Into the second sheet again will is equal to unit name, and the second one is unit address. This is will bring this into the list here. Okay, wait. We'll choose this schedules here. So this is the trading and profit and loss. Here under the 4, this is equal to document date, and in document date we need to convert this into text. Just comma, we want the format dd mm yy. So this is once for all exercise. Merge and center. This is merge and center. This is all beautification tips now. So we have to, so first 4 we need to keep always. This should be the habit always while preparing the balance sheet. First 4 lines, first 4 rows. This is now formatting. You can change the size, and this is the format. You can now click here into, or you can resize row height just by clicking, let us say 25. So it is now very much legible. So if it seems to be, you can adjust the height of the row according to your choice. So this is the again we want bold and the size 14. Again now format, just place this format. Your balance sheet is ready. This is preview of your balance sheet, and rest part is for stamping. And before closing all this final, we'll just select these 2 sheets and change the color to this dark blue, and these are, since the master items, will keep its color different from that. So blue are my balance sheet of profit and loss, and this green are my master data and trial balance. Okay, now finally click somewhere into the trial balance, and under analyze, switch off this field minus button and fields. So now even in profit and loss we don't want these minus or plus signs here. We can switch off this under analyze. So your balance sheet is ready now. This is full and final balance sheet. You can have preview print. So this is the rest part is formatting and the adjustment. You can adjust the breadth of the cells. Let us say this is the revenue. You can create the space the way you like. So let us, in addition to this, go to our trial balance. We'll save it first. Okay, now let us go to trial balance. We want another trial balance. Let us say we got a trial balance of 1819. We'll just drag it and attach it to the original trial. Now the moment we'll attach, it has worked out the closing balance, and before that always try to check, ensure this should be the 0 for all years. Okay, then switch it off. Now we have 2 trial balances. This is 1920, this is 1890, and we want the balance sheet for 1819. So first we need to change 1819. So far as into the master, we need to change it to 31st March 19. So these are the 2 things we require. Rest all we have to refresh this balance sheet and profit and loss. So this is net profit of your 2018-19 and blank. These are the 2 items which you have to choose, 1819 and blank. So this is your 3,40,000 balance sheet tallied, and this is profit and loss. 1,10,000 is your profit, which is very much reflected into the balance sheet. This is has already been adjusted for 2019, and this is also for 2019. You can work out on n number of years. This slicer is a really powerful tool wherein you can select for which year you want what. So only you need to ensure this is the 4 rows where you need to focus, and this is the year on which you are to work out. Once you will work out on 1819, it will work out on that particular year. Formula is sum if s, wherein you can use many uh, arguments, n number of criteria, rather in fact it is 250, but sum range wherein we have to define the sum range, criteria range and criteria. Very simple formula but very powerful. But we need to work closing stock and net profit, and we have to define the names of these two cells where from we have to put these values into the trial. And always never forget to choose this is as blanks. If you will take it as 1920, it will always keep on working into 1920. If the year is 1890, it will automatically adjust. The moment we'll change it here 1920, so it has work change the net profit and closing stock. The moment we'll go to 1819, it has changed. Net profit is 1,10,000, stock is 10,000. We have to just refresh only. So this is the closing stock. You can very well see. So this is the power of slicer. So all it's a complete package. Thank you very much.